Hey y'all, my name's Sarah, and I want to apologize for the lighting before we start my presentation. It's not the best in my room, and then also you're up leaning against my laptop. Again, not the best situation, but we're working with what we got. And also, I have my little note cards here, so I apologize if I look at them every now and again, but I mostly have my research on these. Anyway, what is my presentation going to be about today? Today I'm going to talk about VARK and different learning styles. Now, as humans and students, especially nursing students, we all know what works for us. We have learned throughout our entire lifespan what helps us learn things. Through elementary school, middle school, and high school, and now college. And real life, you learn things in real life on a daily basis. Now, we know what works for us. But VARK is a acronym that stands for Visual, Auditory, Reading and Writing, and Kinesthetics, which is a fairly hard word to say if you've never said it before or you don't know how to say it. I had to Google it to find out, which is also my category, by the way, but I'm jumping ahead of myself. There's also a fifth category called multimodal, which is where basically, and this is what I feel like most people are, because I didn't think I followed one category. I use different strategies, but multimodal basically combines the first four into one model, one big multi-model group. Those people don't fit into visual perfectly, or auditory perfectly, or reading and writing perfectly, or kinesthetics perfectly. When they get scored, their scores are even almost to a T, because they use all kinds of different strategies, which I feel like most people are. But according to VARK, I am mostly a kinesthetic learner. Now, kinesthetic learners, we like facts. We don't like fantasy. We like to know factual information. We look at things factual. We want to know why and how. And kinesthetics, movement, we like to touch things. We need to hold things. We need to physically move when we are learning things. We can't sit still like this. I'm sitting in my chair, by the way. We're at my desk area. We can't sit still and just be given a presentation on a slideshow. We can do that. We can use like the pictures and the actual lecture, and that helps us learn clearly. But eventually we need to physically write it out or physically make a model of what we're learning. A good example of this I found from a journal article, and it's called Learning Styles Preferences Among Medical Students, Kinesthetics, Learners Multimodal Approach to Learning Anatomy. That's the name of the journal. But this journal basically talks about how it was a study done on a group of medical students. Most of them were kinesthetic already. They had determined that. The researchers, they were like, we know these are kinesthetic learners. We want to know what they'll do to learn their anatomy and physiology. They were given a lecture, and then they were given a cadaver lab on a cadaver, deceased body. And after the lecture and the lab, the researchers told the learners, all right, we want you to basically pick a study strategy. Now, when they told them this, they gave them an option of their study strategies too. They said that you can either make mental notes in your mind, which a good example of that would be basically taking whatever was on the lecture presentation and that's it. Just remembering it in their brain. But they also had the option of doing a physical activity, such as making a clay model or crocheting, like with the, what is it, yarn, crocheting the, I don't know the body anatomical parts they were studying, but whatever they were studying, I don't know, let's go with the heart. They physically crocheted it. And in the end, given the two options, after watching the lecture and doing their cadaver lab, majority of the medical students who were known to be kinesthetic learners chose to do the physical clay model or crochet. They chose to physically make a representation of what they learned from the lecture and the lab versus just going off a mental note and that's it to learn the material. That shows you that, and they're also doing anatomy and physiology like we are as nursing students. That shows you when you're a kinesthetic, again, it's a hard word to pronounce. When you are a kinesthetic learner and you are going into the healthcare field and you are studying a health science class, whether it's a doctor or a nurse or a medical assistant, dental hygienist, whatever, you've got to learn anatomy and physiology. And as kinesthetics, it would be beneficial for us to make models or draw out on paper. You don't have to make it technically a 3D model like they did, but you could just draw it out on paper, a diagram. Blood flow through the heart, you know? Now, also, that journal article found that most medical students, if they're not kinesthetic, they fall in multi-model. They're not one specific learning style, unless it's kinesthetic, most of them. It's either kinesthetic or multi-model. That tells you medical students like to do things with their hands, and they like to use a variety of different learning styles, which makes sense, most humans. Okay? I'm getting my notes in order, I'm sorry. Now, going back to VARC. Again, visual, auditory, reading and writing, and kinesthetics. Visual learners like to see things clearly, visual. Auditory, hearing. Reading and writing, they like to write and they like to see it on paper, I feel like. That's what that style would do. Kinesthetics, again, we're hands-on. We like to work in groups, but we want to know who has what job. We like order. We like facts. We like concrete experiences. We don't like winging things. We don't like just going off of whatever. We need a plan of action. We learn from doing, grasping, holding. Oh, tasting too. I didn't think about that one, but yeah, we learn from tasting things, etc. According to the actual VARC website, this modality, which they call their group's modality, refers to the perceptual preference of the related use of experience and practice. So I'm going to say it again because I got a little tongue-tied. According to the VARC website, this modality refers to the perceptual preference related to the use of experience and practice. We also like to use past experience. Things that we've learned in the past, we will use to learn new material. So, also, according to a different journal article than the original medical one I pointed out earlier, this one was done with occupational therapy students at the Eastern Kentucky University. And the journal article is called Kinesthetic learners during COVID-19 pandemic, occupational therapy students' perspective on e-learning. Now, we all remember e-learning. 2020, a little bit of 2021, and some people are still doing it in 2022. It was a trip. It was an adventure. Some of us loved it. Some of us hated it. I had a love-hate relationship with it. I liked being able to work at home, to wear my pajamas, but I didn't like not having a teacher physically there. So, according to this journal article, which again was at the Eastern Kentucky University with a group of occupational therapy students during the actual pandemic, I'm assuming 2020. I couldn't find the year exactly. This journal article asked the students, they were like, how are y'all doing during this e-learning, the distance learning? How are your grades doing? Are you actually retaining the information? And like, it was a high percentage of the group they chose to ask of occupational therapy students. Majority of them said, we're doing horrible, because they were kinesthetic learners. And they said, we're doing horrible, and we feel like our professors and our administration do not care that we're doing horrible. Because they knew they were kinesthetic learners. They knew they needed physical contact. They needed physically to be there. But the students felt like the administration and the professors did not care. And their grades started to suffer during the pandemic, during e-learning. So I thought that was interesting. And I'm sorry if I keep also licking my lips. Throat's getting a little dry. Presentations, they do get you a little thirsty. I'm sorry. That's it for my research. But overall, we all know what works for us, regardless of what a test says. Now, VARC is highly regarded in education by teachers, researchers. A lot of people stand by its testing use. They say VARC is a very good system to use to determine somebody's learning style. I thought I would be more visual and auditory, because for me personally, I like to write things out physically, but I also like seeing it. I have to see it and I have to hear it. I will write out my notes handwritten, and then I will say them over and over and over and over again. I'll just be doing a little chant, to be honest. And I also can't learn or study with noise in the background, like music. Some people can, I can't. I get distracted. Music and TV, I'm going to start watching the TV. I can't do that. I need to physically handwrite my notes, say them out loud, see them on paper, use color. I love highlighters, color pencils, pens. Because on the test day, when I'm taking my test, I'll remember pink or red, cardiovascular. I always put blue with neuro, so nervous system. Or I always do green with the gastric system. Like, I remember certain colors with certain things. I'm almost running out of time, but I also wanted to do my little demonstration of how we would learn as kinesthetic learners. Now, I love to work out, which I recommend for nursing students or students in general. If you've got stress in your life, working out helps so much. I like weightlifting. I've gotten into that in the last couple months. So, I have a little dumbbell with me right now. It's a 10-pounder. And right now, I'll try to slide my chair back. Might be better if I move towards the edge. I'm trying to get in the frame. I'm going to demonstrate how to do a bicep curl. Now, we all know that our bicep brachii is right here. When you do a curl, you want to try to keep a 90-degree angle. Let me stand up. You got different types of curls. This is kind of a hammer curl. And you're just going to come up. If you don't have a dumbbell at home, you could also use a can, like from your cabinet, a food can, or a milk jug, and you're just going to curl it. And you're going to work that bicep. Now, if you want to work your tricep back here, again, you can use a milk jug. Anything that's you can grab in your hand that's not too heavy for you works. If you want to do a tricep extension, you just lean forward a little bit and kick it back with your arm. Kick your arm back. Keep this straight as you can. I'm trying to get it in the frame so it looks a little off. Now, we have worked out our bicep and our tricep. What about our deltoid and our shoulder? For that, I love to do a shoulder press. And I usually work out at a gym. This is from a home gym. I have a home gym too. But what you're going to do to work out your deltoid and a little bit of your trap right here too, and it will get your pec in there too, is a shoulder press. You're going to come, you want to kind of angle it too. So if I'm sitting straight, instead of doing my arm out like this, I'm going to angle it like this. So you're also going to do two arms. And you're going to make a V. And you're just going to go like this. I'm just doing it with one right now, but you would normally do two. Again, this is not a lot of area to work with in my room, but that's your shoulder press for your deltoid and a little bit of your trap and your pec. And then we did the curl for your bicep, and then we did the extension for the tricep. And that is an arm workout. So, again, you can use a can, you can use, I got this right here. This is some energy drink, which I'm trying to cut back on. But I want to open it afterwards, but you could do a bicep curl with that. You could use a Febreze thing. I just love weightlifting. Also, cardio is good too, if you're wanting to lose weight, clearly. But if you're wanting to de-stress, because as nursing students, we have a lot of stress. So, that's it. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. I'm sorry if I got off topic a little bit. Thank you for bearing with me with the lighting and the being propped on my computer and in my room in general. And I hope you have a good day. And I hope you take these strategies that I've talked about and apply them. Try them out. Maybe you already use them. I hope y'all have a good day and do good in school.